Hello, and thank you for joining us in the consulting room. Did you know that every year millions of people around the world struggle with thoughts of hopelessness and despair? But behind every number is a name, a story, a person who matters. And while the topic is difficult, silence can also be deadly. That's why this conversation is so important, because suicide is preventable and lives can be saved through understanding, compassion, and timely intervention. Over the next few minutes, we'll hear from a mental health expert. We'll learn how to recognize the warning signs, how to talk openly and safely about mental health, and most importantly, how to be there for someone who may be silently struggling. This episode isn't just about awareness, it's about action, hope, and healing. Because even in the darkest moment, there is help, there is support, and there is always a reason to keep going. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the short break to discuss more. Welcome to Consulting Room 5 with me, your host, Dr. Sue. Today we are discussing a topic on suicide, how to prevent suicide and save life. We have Dr. Imelda Asem Ehiabli, who is a psychiatrist with several years of clinical experience, as well as an advocate for mental health and wellness. She works with the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. She has a keen interest in reintegrating people living with mental health disabilities into their communities, and also educating young people on improving and maintaining their own mental health and wellness. Outside of work, she enjoys reading, swimming, and spending time with her family and friends. Doctor, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Pretty doctor.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm happy to have you today.
Happy to be here.
So today we are discussing something about suicide, and we are also lucky that just last month we commemorated the World Suicide Day, which was 10th September, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why would somebody think of committing suicide at all?
So suicide usually comes up when people are facing severe emotional pain and distress, comes when they are facing hopelessness, and when they feel like there's no way out of the predicaments they are in. And then people may choose to commit suicide or end their lives. But the important thing that we have to realize about suicide is not only one person. It affects whole families, whole communities, whole workplaces, and it's not just a statistic. Every statistic is one person, but that one person means someone's mom, someone's dad, someone's sibling,
family,
yes,
a friend,
someone's co-worker.
Yeah.
And like the effects of suicide also tend to resonate in the community, because then everybody starts feeling, what did I do wrong? Like, could I have done something?
Yeah,
then it tends to affect other people. That is why we are talking about suicide now, because we want people to be aware, so that when they can see the signs early, then they can help the person.
Mm. So last month's theme was changing the narrative. What narrative is it?
So usually suicide is shrouded in a lot of stigma, a lot of myths, that people who have suicide, for example, it means they are weak, it means maybe they want to sin against God, or some other things, that if you talk about suicide, it means other people are also going to like commit the same suicide. But
right,
it's actually not true. When you talk about suicide in a very responsible way, it actually helps people who are struggling know where they can find help, recognize the signs in themselves, and then seek help. And it's not also a sign of weakness, because everybody can struggle. Yes, people with mental illness are at a higher risk of suicide, but anybody at all can get to that point where they feel like there's nothing they can do. we've unfortunately had like a lot of suicide attempts, especially in this year, and many of them happen with young people. And some things like maybe I've lost all my money in a bet can be a reason why someone may feel overwhelmed and I don't know how to get out of this, and then may attempt suicide. And unfortunately, some have actually succeeded. So there are so many things that can happen to somebody. And when the person feels like there's no way out, they may feel then if there's no way out,
that's the only option.
That's my only option.
So, but is suicide only using a rope kind of to tie the neck? That the one we all know?
No. Actually, more people commit suicide with using poisons, especially the pesticides and the weedicides. Those are the ones, especially in our environments, that people use. Actually, more than 70% of completed suicides occur in middle and low-income countries like in Africa, because there's no much regulation when it comes to who can buy like poisons
and hard drugs.
Yes, and drugs. Yes. So people can buy, like go to a pharmacy, buy like so many pills, and nobody asks them that, what are you going to use this for? Or people can get like pesticides around, and those methods are very deadly, because if you ingest a pesticide some of them are so deadly that even when you come, it's very difficult to help you. So yes, those are some of the means that we are trying to, the government is trying to do, such as limiting the availability of those lethal means of committing suicide.
So, but something like the smoke from the exhaust can also be another form that people may not deliberately know, or may not deliberately expose themselves to, but eventually you see that they go in and then it becomes poisonous in their system. Is it a deliberate suicide or indeliberate?
So the thing is, whenever someone dies suddenly, when someone dies suddenly, there's no explanation.
Right.
Usually, before the body should be released to the family, there should be an autopsy.
Yeah.
And part of a kind of autopsy that we do is what we call psychiatric autopsy.
Okay.
Where what was the person's mental state when they did this?
Okay.
Is it that the person really did not know and they just fell asleep in their car with the car engine running in their garage? Or was this person already showing signs of like stress, or were they saying things to their family members that could have connoted that this may have actually been like a suicide that was completed? So there are so many things people can say it's not intentional, but it depends on what the person's mindset was before the act. So
we wouldn't say that we have indeliberate suicide.
No.
There is nothing.
Yeah, no. If it's indeliberate, then it's an accident.
Okay. Okay.
So suicide, it means a person has deliberately attempted to end their lives, or whether they have succeeded or not succeeded.
Is it important, or why is it important to openly discuss these matters?
The main reason why it's important to talk about suicide is because before the suicide actually happens, there are signs that other people can see. And even in the person themselves, there are signs that they can see. Now, when you don't talk about it, people may not even be able to recognize that these thoughts I'm having are not healthy. These thoughts I'm having are not normal. And the thing is, whenever you are going through a stressful situation, our mind seems to hyper-focus on the problem. And when that hyper-focus on when you're focusing on just the problem and you're worrying about it, and your thoughts get into the thoughts of suicide, it's very difficult to say, no, I'm not going to think about this. Especially if your mind keeps going to that direction.
Yeah.
It can now become like the main thought in your mind. The main reason why we are talking about suicide is that we want people to recognize the signs early. We want people to recognize that, okay, I am sad because of something, or I'm stressed because of something, but the thoughts I'm having now about ending my life, it's not normal. people just say, oh, I mean, it's just a devil, let me just brush it off. But if you brush it off and it keeps coming, and it's like, it becomes like the entire focus of your thoughts, then it's a problem. If you are with a relative or a friend, and then you notice that the person's speech, the things they are talking about have become very dark, they are talking about being a burden, they are talking about being worthless, they have pulled away from other people, they seem to be very withdrawn, and now they are talking about maybe when I die, things are going to get better. They are giving out things like as though they are like final acts, giving out things to people.
Okay.
Saying things like death is better than life. Like those kind of ideas are things that should prompt you that is there a problem, and then you should think, should I ask this person, are you okay? What's going on?
So these are the like kind of the signs.
Yes.
Signs of people who would want to commit suicide.
Yes. Sometimes even like somebody who is under a lot of stress, like you know that this person has gone through a big thing, but for some, and maybe they were distressed for a while, then all of a sudden they go quiet. That should also be a worrying sign, because why are you quiet now? You are still under the stress. Why are you quiet? Sometimes it could be that they are quiet because they've realized that, is this okay? I mean, I'm going to
Sometimes they want to reflect too, or they want to sit back and reflect on the things that have happened to them and the way forward. So I don't think it's always the case. Or
yes, it's not always the case, as I said. But in terms of mental health, the main question we always ask is why. If you speak to the person says, oh, I'm just trying to reflect, it's not anything, fine. But if the person is doing it because in their mind, okay, I'm going to die anyway, I don't really care about what's going to happen again, then it's a problem. So it's always about asking why and trying to know, why is this happening? Why is this behavior? Why are you feeling this way? It's always about the asking why.
So what are the biggest misconceptions about this suicide?
I think, like in our environment, for example, one of the biggest misconceptions is that suicide is sin. It's a sin against God.
It's a sin, complete sin against God. So,
like,
so far as you are even thinking about it, you have sinned.
Yes.
But what is it? What's the real issue? The
real issue is that anybody can struggle. Anybody at all can struggle. Anybody can, at a point where they are under stress, say, what wouldn't it be better if I was not even
I'm not alive, right?
Yes. And when you say something, when you immediately your thought goes like, hey, this is sin. Yes, it seems as if it is a good way to stop the thought, but over time, it becomes like you just denying what you are going through. And there's going to be a point where you can't like stop thinking about it again. The main thing is that when someone expresses that feeling, even you as a person, ask yourself, why is my thought going there? Why?
The person going through that situation.
Why is my thought going to be better for me to die? Is it am I actually depressed? Because you may be depressed but not even know that you are depressed.
Yeah.
Like, is this stress become so much that I can't handle it, that this is where my thought is going to? And if somebody maybe comes to a pastor and says that, I feel like I want to end it all. I mean, it's not right to that it is a sin against God, that's the end. No. Approach it with compassion and empathy. Why are you thinking this way? Have a conversation with the person. Try and hear what they are going through.
So and not even to cut you a little bit before you continue. So this is very important. If the fact that the person has even gotten, has entrusted in you to come to you, you should be compassionate.
Yes.
You should have empathy rather than always condemning them. Yes. So we shouldn't be condemning people.
Exactly.
Right.
That is actually how I wanted to put it.
Okay.
Yes. And at that point, once the person has spoken to you, once you have opened up, that's also the point where you should also help them seek professional help. You've had the conversation with them, they've spoken to you about what they are going through, but once someone starts thinking about suicidal thoughts, this person not most likely, definitely needs to speak to a professional. to know exactly what is the problem and to treat it and manage it as appropriate.
So with your experience, what are some of the things that people that lead people to have even that thoughts of suicide?
So the commonest is untreated mental illness. And
untreated mental illness.
Let's think about it this way. When I say mental illness, everybody's mind goes straight to the man walking by the roadside. But that's not actually where we are going. Okay?
Right.
That is very severe mental illness.
Okay.
And yes, but even what we call like I don't want to use the word non-severe, but like the ones that come all the time. Depression. So people think like there's sadness because or grief when you go through something difficult, but it's different from depression.
Okay.
So depression is when you can't get out of the sadness, where you are so sad that you can't get yourself out of it. It has lasted almost every single day for 2 weeks or more, and it's now affecting your performance in terms of taking care of yourself, going to work, yes, your productivity, your relationships with people. You have become withdrawn, you can't eat, you can't sleep. That is what we call depression.
Okay.
And most people just think, oh, they downplay depression, that, oh, it's just my mood or something. No. But if you find yourself in a space where you can't get your mood out of the low points that it is in, and your mind keeps going back
from like 2 weeks. You said the time frame is from 2 weeks.
Yes, okay. Continuously for like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay.
At that point, you are depressed and you need treatment. And treatment is not only medication. We also have clinical psychologists who do talk therapy, which actually is the main treatment for mild to moderate depression. It is when it's severe that we may need to put you on medication. Another thing is anxiety. Some people have anxiety disorders. So anxiety disorders is when you worry, and it's more than just worrying. It's more like being worried about everything. There are different types, but in general, it's being worried about everything, being worried about the future, about all these things. And usually anxiety comes with depression. Like they work together.
They are cousins.
Yes. And yes, they are literally cousins. And when you have untreated anxiety, you can have maybe something will say, okay, this is a small problem that could be solved. But because your mind is already shifted in that position where you are always anxious, you focus on the negative and you can't see anything else. Your mind is just hyper focused on the negative, that this is going to end badly, so I might as well just end it all. Another thing is people who use drugs and alcohol and can't stop using it. There's this point in the use of those substances that it gets to a point where you feel like I literally feel like my life is at the bottom. I can't seem to get myself out of this. Maybe it's better I just end it all so that everybody is free of me. Those are some of the thoughts that some people have told me they've had while they are going through all these things. But you know, addiction is also a disease. Yeah. So when I say untreated mental illness, these are the things that I'm talking about. Okay. When someone has an illness that has not been treated, that has not been recognized, over time, the hits it has on the person's life, on their social circle, on their family, it gets to a point where they start feeling like, maybe if I was taken out of the equation, everybody else would be happy. And then that is a problem. But we also have the quote-unquote impulsive kind of suicide. So, for example, especially those who lose money in things like betting, or they take money and cannot pay loan. Yes, when they feel like there's no way to get out of this situation, then they may feel like maybe it's better for me to just end it all. Some too can be like a cry for help. Many times when people even attempt suicide, it may not be that they want to die. It may be that they just don't know how to express like what they are feeling in such a way that people will take them seriously. But unfortunately, we've had cases where someone was doing that but then ended fatal because of the means that they used. Yes.
But some also just use that to create for attention.
Well, if somebody is using suicidal attempt as a way to create attention, then there's a deeper problem that needs to be solved. And that should not be taken lightly at all. Okay. That, oh, you're just, this person just seeking attention. If they are seeking attention and the only means of attention that they found is suicide, then there's a bigger problem that we need to solve. And you should even take that still seriously and make sure the person sees a professional. Okay.
So you have explained on how people, the signs, and also the people, how they should seek help. Then how about the loved ones? How, if, let's say, I identify a loved one who is going through all these things, how do I approach the person for the person to seek help, I mean professionally?
The most important thing is, as you approach the person. Yes,
because it could be that might not be the situation or whatever thing it is. So that I don't go, I mean, against, or I don't hit wrongly. How do I approach somebody who I perceive that I think that the person might be going through such a thing?
The most important thing that you can do for any person in your life who you've noticed a change in is to always ask them what is going on. You know, we live in a world now where most of us are on our phones, and even conversations become difficult. Sometimes you may be going through something, but if you have not built like the social circle around yourself, you may feel like, I have no one to talk to. The most important thing is to have compassion, approach the person with empathy, ask, oh, what's going on? So you are not going with the idea that, hey, this person, maybe he's thinking of suicide. More like, I've noticed that you have become very quiet. What is going on? That is just the beginning of the conversation. And when you start the conversation in that way, they are able to open up to you, say what is going on, and then as they speak to you, when their thoughts, the things they are saying seem to have turned dark, you can ask them that, have you thought of maybe ending your life? Is that something you are thinking about? That is where you go indirectly, but you don't start from the beginning. Are you thinking of ending your life? No. But usually you just have to be there, like be a listening and let the person come to the point where they realize that they can pour out to you. Okay. You are somebody they can talk to. And if truly they have thought about that, they will be able to open up to you. It's just as normal conversations that we've been having all this while, but recently it feels like it's more difficult for people to have conversations like at home. I've had clients where this person has been depressed for several months, like almost a year. It's in their house with their relatives. They go to work, they come back. But because of how things are now, I mean, he's in the house alone. So he comes home, his relative is in his room, those kind of things. And all this while, this person is thinking about ending his life. But no one in his family has even approached him, asked, what is going on? Like, you've changed. So they'll just be, God forbid, they'll just be there one day and then they'll notice that he had done something to himself and nobody would understand because he's in the house with us. Yeah. But the fact that the person is in the house with you does not mean that you're actually having conversations with the person. Many of us go home now. People are in the house with us. We go to work, we come back, we are late in the evening, we go to bed. We hardly have conversations with the people we are in the house with. They don't
even just go to bed. They just go glued to their phone. And then social media. Yeah. So I saw a post that said people that now are closer to us because of gadgets are several miles away from us, and those that are away are the ones that we chat with. Exactly. Which is, and I remember a man who I was not well, not suicide, but then this social media. So the person wasn't well. Every time I thought I was checking on the person. So I'll send a message, how are you doing? And then the person will say, I'm well, I'm managing. Every time, I mean, he could type. So later on, after about a month or two, I heard the man had passed. And I asked the wife and said he couldn't even talk. So if I had even picked a phone to call the man, at least I would have found out that he couldn't talk. So it's a caution to all of us.
Yes.
Even if we in the home, we should find out how the person is, talk to the person, or
yes, those
doctor,
conversations.
right?
Yes,
It's
having
important.
conversations with people you are in the house with, your family members, is very important. I mean, it's difficult, but creating time for those heart-to-heart
intentional about
conversations,
making
very
those.
intentional.
So are there protective ways to reduce the risk of committing suicide?
Yes. So, I mean, these protective ways go from the personal level to even like the government and world level. So let's take for the personal level. So as a person, we should learn how to be resilient. Okay. So resilience training is one of the things that unfortunately many of us do not learn growing up. We don't learn how to tolerate frustration. We don't.
Is this synonymous to emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence is like how emotional intelligence is more about knowing your emotions, reading other people's emotions, and then knowing how to navigate it. Okay. But resilience more is how you are able to bounce back. Okay. When you get into trouble. Okay. Because in this world, you always have trouble. But it's always about how you have learned to bounce back in trouble, how you've built your own self-confidence and knowledge that even if I've suffered this big loss, so far as I was able to go the first time, I can do it again. Learning that even if things are not happening a certain kind of way for me, it does not mean that it's over. One thing about social media is social media shows us everybody's highlights. And the better side. Yes. Sometimes but they don't, even the fake side. Exactly. But it don't show you the struggle that it was to get there. Exactly. And so you may be in the process where you are struggling to get there, but when you see someone has made it, it feels like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Lost. And that is part of the pressure that many of us feel, like in our current society. Right. But if you have not built the mental fortitude to understand that, yes, my friend is doing well now, but I know I'm going to get there, and you keep feeling something is wrong, it's going to be very difficult. When something hits you, you may not be able to bounce back as easily. Another thing that a person can do is, many of us don't take exercise seriously, but exercise is actually one of the things you can do to help your mind. Like physical exercise? Physical exercise. Okay. Because physical exercise has the effects. You see, the chemicals in our brain, all people who commit suicide, afterwards when you check, there are some chemicals in their brain which is always imbalanced. The chemicals in our brain which are imbalanced, that can get us to that point, they get balanced again when we exercise. When we exercise, when we eat healthy food, when we sleep well. But when you don't have these things in place, when your physical health is not in place, the chemicals in your brain are all out of balance. Just think about it, like whenever you had malaria, whenever you were sick, how were you feeling? You wouldn't feel very weak. Yeah. You feel weak in your body, but you also feel sad in your mind. Sometimes you even be having bad dreams and you think that. Exactly. You see, because a healthy mind always lives in a healthy body. So if you haven't had the physical part of your body is not strong, it's easy for the mental part to also go the other way around. Now, when it comes to like our families, as I said, make your family a safe space where your family and friends, make them a safe space. Your friend group should be a safe space you can share. Family and genuine friends. Yes, genuine friends. Okay. So you should create the social circle around you that it can be a place where you can genuinely share like what you are going through, where these conversations are had openly, where parents teach their children that yes, there are these emotions, there's positive emotions, there's negative emotions, and yes, you may feel sad one day, but how do I navigate this sadness is what like we should be teaching our children as they are growing up. Setting boundaries, setting healthy boundaries. Many of our problems come from not setting healthy boundaries in our relationships.
Okay.
Setting healthy boundaries and teaching your children how to set those healthy boundaries.
For example?
For example, emotional boundaries.
Okay.
So if you have like a friend or a friend group where like there's someone or a group of people who are always insulting people, making you feel down. When you say, oh, I want to do this thing, oh, you can't do it, Or, oh, I want to lose weight, oh, you can't lose weight, you have been fat since you're a child. They are saying it as a joke, but like over time, those thoughts keep playing in your mind. And when you realize that this thing that you keep telling me, I don't like, it doesn't make me feel good. Many of us having built the kind of assertiveness or boundary to the person that the way you are talking to me, I don't like it. Can you stop? If the person decides not to stop and the person is affecting you mentally, you should be able to draw that line that, okay, I like you, we are friends, but I think when it comes to this, I can't have this type of conversation with you. But many of us haven't learned how to draw those boundaries in our lives.
So even though it hurts, but they are unable to draw that boundary.
Yes.
So in that instance, should we cut the person or we can withdraw? What are the solutions to such a thing?
It's not only like cutting people off and those things. It's just knowing that, okay, this person is this way and I am this way. I'm not cutting you off from my life. I don't want to talk to you again. That one is also not healthy. But maybe when it comes to these particular conversations, I don't think I should have them with you. If I can see that, when I know that this type of topic, when we get here, you aren't the best person to have this conversation with.
Yeah.
That kind of things. Okay. But it does not mean, because cutting people off too leaves you alone.
Yeah.
And nobody is perfect. But
right.
recognizing that maybe what someone says about me is not necessarily true because, I mean, they don't know me enough. And having that boundary of like, you know, sometimes you can see on social media, someone's like, okay, all men are men, forgive me. All men are a scam. And our
relationship is a scam.
Yeah. Or adulthood na scam. Like, I mean, it's funny to say, but you have to get to the point where you say, okay, everybody is saying this, but this is not my reality.
Some will also say fear women.
Yeah. Yes, fear women. But you should be able to say that this is not my reality.
Okay.
And have that boundary in your mind in terms of like the things that build up your values. Like, okay, this person, people are saying this is funny and everything, but this is not the value system that I ascribe to. This is not my boundary. Being able to have those type of things in your mind, that you hear a lot of things, but say, okay, this is something that is true for me, but this is not true for me. And cutting those things out of all the information that you are getting. It's part of building boundaries. And then when it comes to even the media, responsible reporting, especially of suicide. Sometimes we hear the media people and they are giving blow by blow information and it's like it's so filtering. Sensational. And they are telling people the method that was used.
No.
You know, that is wrong because people who are also thinking about like, oh, okay, this person used this method and it's succeeded. Maybe this is what I should do.
I should also do. You'll be teaching them out there.
Exactly. Or maybe this person did this because he was sacked from work. Okay, then maybe I should do that because if I'm sacked from work, I might as well also do the same thing. So there's a way of reporting incidents of suicide which builds people up. Even when you report the incident, leave as much like stigmatizing information out and make sure that it always ends with you adding that, okay, if you are having these symptoms, this is the place that you can go to for help. Then governmental level, the mental health authority, for example, we have a helpline. It's 24 hours, it's confidential. The helpline is 0800 678 678, sorry. So you can call this helpline at any time and there will be people, trained mental health professionals to speak to who can direct you to the best place for help.
Doctor, you've kind of summarized everything, but we'll still talk about a few things. But before that, we'll go on a commercial break. Doctor has taught us the signs and how we shouldn't blow things out of proportion when we hear any suicide or reporting on suicide, I mean in the media. Individual level, as a family, friends, and even at the national level, she has told us what we should do to help people who are in this situation. We'll go on a quick commercial break. After the break, we'll dive more into and even mention other helplines that you can ways and then the professional help that we should seek. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're welcome back to Consulting Room 5 with me, your host, Dr. Sue. So we're discussing how to prevent suicide and how to save lives. People who are in this silent situation and are dying slowly. How do we help these people and what are the signs? So we are with Dr. Imelda Asem Ehiabli, a clinical psychiatrist who is at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, who is a consultant at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. And she was telling us about the helpline that we could contact. Is it national helpline?
Yes, it's a national helpline. You can reach it from anywhere in Ghana. It's toll free, so it's free, and it's 24/7.
Doesn't it get engaged?
Oh no, if you call, even when they drop your call, they'll call you back. But it's engaged mostly. They never like turn away a call or miss a call. So
okay. So can you please repeat the number?
It's 0800 678 678.
0800 678 678. Thank you. So apart from this helpline, are there other means of helping people if you feel you are depressed, as you said earlier, if you feel you are depressed or you feel that the world has come to an end, kind of, are there some social support, media, the family or community support that one could contact, professional support?
Yes. So you can contact, so in every district hospital in Ghana, they have a psychiatric unit, and they're usually manned by clinical psychologists, nurses, and in some places doctors who can speak to you and help you in every district in Ghana. And after that, we also have trainings for trained counselors. Especially, they work especially with students in terms of schools, and they also work in churches. So we've had churches who nominate people who go through the counseling programs and then run their counseling units for them. So most churches have like counselors as well. We have peer counselors in schools, especially secondary schools, for example, who are trained in recognizing people with who are going through struggles and know the ways to refer them. So these are ways that you can help, like in the community. You can always access care. You can always go to your counseling units in your church, counseling units in your school, or come to the district hospital. There's always somebody ready to listen to you, or call the helpline. Any means at all, you can reach us.
Great. So are there also, when you go to the district hospitals, did they have to pay, or it's also covered insurance, national health insurance?
So for the clinical psychology service, I feel for most district hospitals, you can walk in and have that conversation. But it's when you need medication or something, if you need medication, then you would have to go through like the system.
System.
Yeah.
So I read somewhere that women, usually more women, or let's say 3 out of, if there are 5 people, 3 out of the 5 might be considering, 3 out of the 5 may be women who are considering committing suicide. So it means that women consider that thought more than men, but men commit. Is it, how true is that?
Yes, so I mean, women do tend to have a lot of suicidal ideas or even attempts, but men tend to complete it because men tend to use more fatal means. Like when a man is considering suicide, they don't go for the, a woman can take like 5 pills of paracetamol as an attempt, but a man would go like all the way.
Extra.
Yes, and I feel like because men do not don't tend to seek help easily for mental struggles, unlike women who would talk about it, and it's mostly a way of like seeking help, but men would, like, they've made up their mind and they are going to do something, so it's more dangerous. That is why men's mental health is something that is so important. And even though, like, we are trying to break that stigma around it.
Very mental.
Oh yeah, break the stigma around it and try and encourage men to seek help and to talk about their struggles. But men would, it's just like a cultural thing that it's difficult for men to open up to others about what they are going through, and that is the problem.
Are there stigma attached to people seeking help?
Oh yes, there's a lot. When it comes to mental health issues in general, there's sort of stigma, but stigma is rooted in lack of knowledge, and lack of understanding. So when people do not understand that, just as you have, like, you are a physical person and there's physical health, there's also mental health, and it's 2 parts that make up a whole. When you have malaria or you are having a headache, you can tell someone, oh, I'm having a headache. But when you are struggling with your thoughts, it's like, hey, if I go and say it, they'll say that I'm someone, I'm a some way kind of person. So that is the kind of stigma that is around anything that has to do with mental health. When you tell people, oh, I'm struggling, or people be like, hey, you dear,
you're weak.
We can hear.
You're not even strong in the Lord.
Exactly. Someone said, someone said that I've been feeling sad, and when I tell my church members, they told me that a pastor have been praying.
Oh,
I know. Like, that is how it is. So those kind of like negative attitudes towards mental health is what constitutes the stigma that we have. And unfortunately, stigma prevents people from opening up and from seeking help because they don't want to be tagged as somebody who is weak or somebody who is not praying enough. And that is where the illness continues, gets worse over time. And when you have no one to speak to and you feel like you're alone and there's no point, then the suicidal thoughts start creeping in. So that is what we are trying to break. We're trying to break the fact that it is okay not to be okay. It is okay to have these emotions. Yes, you were born with these emotions. Some emotions are negative. The same way you can be happy when you do something and you're on top of the moon. The same way you can also be sad. But the most important thing is, how do you handle it when it happens? That is what we want to teach people, and want people to understand that, yes, you can go through negative emotions, but it does not mean that it's the end of the world, and it does not mean that there's no help available for you.
So what role can the media play in the media, the church, societal groups or social groups? What role do you think they can play in preventing suicide?
As I've said earlier, it's all about conversations. It's all about demystifying the whole thing about suicide, about being something you don't talk about, something that you hide. If I'm thinking about this is something I should hide, this is something I shouldn't talk about, if I say it, people are going to say I'm some way. So we have to demystify those conversations, make it that people understand that just as you are a person with a body, you also have a mind. And sometimes that mind may not be a happy place. And when people understand that that can happen to you and can happen to anybody, it's easier for them to come forward and then seek help. And also making seeking help as painless and less difficult as not as difficult as possible. I'm sure there are people who never even knew that there was a mental health line in Ghana. But having these conversations, creating this awareness, making people even identify the signs is something that everybody should be doing. Everybody, the media, churches, schools, communities. It should be something that everybody is
sectorial.
Yes.
Okay.
And is accepted.
Okay.
That, oh, this can happen. If someone can say that, oh, I'm struggling with something, oh, yeah, that can happen. Then you lead them
to A, B, C,
yes.
D. Okay.
And then you lead them to the right quarters to seek help.
You know, suicide usually occur when they occur in certain groups of, within the age groups, they have different reasons why some people may commit suicide. And sometimes when you sit back, let's say you grow out of that age group and you sit back and you think that, was that why I was going to commit such a thing? You feel like a fool, kind of, in quotes. So like adolescents, young adults, sometimes relationship, they get broken-hearted and then they want to commit suicide. I remember somebody wanted to just burn himself and then the lady as well. So what advice would you give to such group of people? Because these ones are, even though they are emotionally drained, but they are not too detailed for you to go through such a thing. I hope you get what I mean. Yeah, so what advice would you give to such young people? Because these are not, they are not major things that should that should drain you for you to say you're committing suicide. Okay. Yeah. So apart from being resilient or building the resilience, what advice would you give to young people?
So, when it comes to the reasons why people commit suicide, it's not to say that, okay, these things that you are facing is not
too important.
It's not too important. Yes, to you, it may not be too important, but at the material moment for the person, they may feel like
the worst
thing that ever happened to them. And yes, what you are saying is true, but it all boils down to still resilience, because I feel, that it's actually, suicide is the third leading cause of death in people from 15 to 29. So it means that it's not as...
Third?
Yes.
Wow.
It's not as, oh, they are just...
Okay.
You get, it's not as uncommon or as trivial as many people try to seem to make it.
Okay.
Because the thing is, when you are in that age, one thing about that age is that even though your body is grown, your brain actually fully matures in terms of the emotional and social circuits in our brain around the 30s. So you would understand why your body is matured, but somehow your emotions didn't follow your body. So for them, they will feel like it's something very serious. That is why you should have all these community mentors in the community, that people you can talk to as a young person, who can tell you that, oh, what you are going through, I've gone through it.
Normal.
Or it's normal. But if the young person feels like, if I go and talk to this person, they'll say, I'm fooling, I should stop. They will not take my struggles seriously. I can't find you as a safe space for me to have this conversation with.
Okay.
Then that is when they would now be in their own mind and then thinking the worst possible thing. It's all about creating a safe space that somebody who is in their teens can come and tell you that, oh, my boyfriend left me and I'm feeling like it's the end of the world. Where you would not just laugh at them and then, like that feeling that, oh, if I talk about it, they'll just laugh at me and no, do not help me. But for them to know that if you come to talk to me, I'll say, oh, I'm so sorry, this has happened to me too before, or give them good advice, for them to understand that you are taking them seriously. That's the main thing. So it's resilience and having...
Doctor, how do we even build this resilience you have been talking about the whole time? How do we build it? Because it looks like it boils down to building resilience. How do we go about that?
So building resilience is a whole thing. It starts all the way from the time you are a child.
Okay. It
starts from how we build confidence in our children, how we teach them to to set boundaries, how we teach them to be kind, to have like baseline values. And then as you grow up, as you grow older, now you are usually in a peer group, and in that peer group you start exploring what are the things that are okay for me and what are the things that are the things I will not cross.
Okay.
They start exploring the lines they can cross, but exploring it safely, having their parents behind them, because they can always go back, or not even a parent, an adult.
Right.
They can always go back and ask the adult that this thing that we are doing, that my friend said we should do, do you think it's okay? Always having that person that they can go back to until the time where you're an adult, and then now you are making your own decisions. But even as you are making your own decisions, you are still know you have like other mentors you can go to in terms of all parts of your life. And in addition to that, you have built a self-confidence in yourself to know that, yes, even if whatever I'm doing does not fail, the outcome is not 100% what I want, I know I can succeed in another thing. Having that self-confidence. So it's just like how you as a person keeps like yourself mentally strong, even in the difficult parts of life. It boils down to, it's like it encompasses everything, even your faith, your beliefs, your friend group, your social group. It's all part of it.
What's typical example will you give to us in your clinic? An instance where somebody has come with a worse situation that you have come across, and then the person has been able to overcome that. Would you like to share something like that with us?
So, okay, so let me just say like a lot. Let me just think.
That's one. The one that overwhelmed you, but the person was able to overcome it.
Okay. So I think, so one of my clients, I think, was a young lady in her teens, who had been undergoing bullying at school. Secondary school. And it was like these seniors, you know how the seniors can be.
Yeah.
But for some reason, she took it really, really, really hard and took it really, really seriously. And then it got to a point where she attempted to hang herself at school. And she was found by like a teacher. And everybody was like, why has it gotten to this like level? But the truth is that, when she told you like the things that she was thinking about and how she became that severely depressed, she had even come home for vacation, and she had sort of told her mom, but you know how it is, seniors there, and it's like her ideas were just brushed off. But the bullying was quite severe. Like when you go into it, the bullying was quite severe. The girl was collecting her things, was constantly abusing her like emotionally and talking down to her. And she already was coming from a home where her mom took sort of, that kind of thing. Those like jovially like insulting. And so she already had a lot of
your cheeks like this, your this like that.
Yes,
so it's also very bad. People should take note of that.
So this person that she met then started amplifying the things that she already felt were wrong with her. Anyway, we admitted her, we saw her. She was actually depressed, so she had to be on medication for a while. But after treatment, she started speaking to the clinical psychologist. They went through some of the negative thoughts that she had been having about herself. And now she's doing very well. She was able to go back to school, completed. She's in the university now. And she's really, really, really doing well. So yes, even in, I would say that it was difficult because even though, yeah, we know that is the age group for suicide, like, you don't really see it like a severe attempt in such a way. Hanging yourself in school, that was, and it was very alarming for all of us.
I can imagine.
Yes. So, and for the main cause to be bullying, something that we think that is normal in secondary schools. Okay. It was a bit difficult for us to come to that place. So so that, I think that was one of the cases but she's doing so well now.
That's
would
great.
not know.
Good to know. So what advice would you give to the young people, especially the general public, about prevention of suicide and helping to save lives?
So suicide is a very difficult topic. However, almost as Dr. Sue said, 3 out of 5 people have at one point in their life had that thought flash through their mind. And you having the thought flash through your mind does not mean that it is the end of the world. It does not mean that it means you are going to end your life. No. Suicide usually comes in a kind of a crisis for just that moment. And when you seek the necessary help, you speak to the professionals, you speak to your relatives, your family, supportive people, you get all your support system around you. You can come out of it and thrive, and you would not even know that something like this ever happened to you. If you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, contact the helpline. It's 24 hours, 24/7, confidential, absolutely free. 0800 678 678. And
0800 678 678 is the helpline.
Yes.
So Dr. Imelda Asem Ehiabli is a psychiatrist at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. She has said that if you feel down, if you feel so dark, talk to somebody. Why is there somebody? So I would also say that we should be there for each other. We shouldn't be too much glued to our gadgets. People may be going through a lot of problems that you may not know. Talk to somebody. If you see that the person's attitude has changed, the person is coiling in, approach the person and talk to the person. And if you think the person needs help, you can advise the person, help the person to seek professional help, not necessarily the kokonsa kind of, you know. You should seek professional help, because there is always people there to help. But if you don't go for the right one, it might lead to something very bad that we all don't want. Because love your life. Life is very important, and we should love our lives. Thank you, Doctor, for coming for to discuss this important topic, suicide, and how to prevent it, how to save lives. So the changing the narrative, you people said, we will try to change the narrative so that there wouldn't be too much stigma, or there wouldn't be stigma at all. Somebody can just get up and go to the professionals to say that we need help. I'm draining and I need help, right?
Yes.
If somebody comes, I'm sure the person will really get the help that is needed. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody, for having me. We'll meet same time next week. Enjoy your weekend and stay safe. Bye.